Hey everyone, so just in time for Halloween, I figured I would review Dark, the Complete Horror UI by Michsky. This is a fairly new package, as you can see. It was released on October 19th, so the time of this recording, it's about 5 days ago. It's not that big of a package, it's about 26 megabytes, and that the current price is $40 USD, so as always, decide for yourself if you feel that is worth it. What this package gives you is a splash screen, a title screen, and then some subscreens. So like a settings screen, a documentation screen, that kind of thing. There are two dependencies for this. First, there is in the Unity registry, you need the new input system. So you would install that. When you do, you'll get a prompt letting you know that Unity will restart and it will disable the old input system. So if you're still using the old input system, it's not a problem. You can actually use both. So what would happen is after you install that, you'd go to Edit. You would go, after the restart, that is, you'd go to Project Settings. You have these four accordion sections under Player. So under Player, you have these four accordion sections. And in Other Settings, right near the bottom, you have Active Input Handling. And you can change this to both. So use both the old input system and the new input system. And then the second dependency, so input system is free, that comes with Unity. The other one is Text Mesh Pro. So the first time that you try to create a text mesh object, you'll get a pop-up window saying, do you want to install Text Mesh Pro? So I'm not quite sure why they take that approach. So certain things are packages, certain things are installed. This one is kind of installed. You get a menu item, but before you can use it, you have to install a few components. So I don't understand why they do that, but because it's Unity, that's what they do. So those are the two dependencies: Text Mesh Pro and the new input system. Okay, so what you get is you get mainly this folder. You're not going to touch most of these for the most part. You can for more advanced interactions, but it's really designed to be able to be modified at a very high level through custom components. Okay, so you certainly can come through here, but for the most part, you're going to work with scenes. As you can see, there's one for URP and HDRP and one for built-in, and then you would just use the right one. I'm using, I believe, desktop is the one that I opened. So that's what we see here, and we'll just quickly run this, and then you'll see the changes when we go through some of the settings. So as you can hear, there's some background ambient noise, ambient sound, and everything you see here can be modified. So like this can be modified, that can be modified. You can remove these. And as you can see, when you point at something, two things happen. There's the animation, and then there's a sound effect. Okay. All right, so how do you actually make changes? So there is a UI object that's created in the menu. So there's Show UI Manager, and this lets you change some of the top level stuff, but there's a bunch of other things that can be changed as well. So this gives you the broad strokes though. So Theme Manager, you have background. So that background refers to this. So if we click here, so typical Unity navigation, let's change that. And now it doesn't look like such, it doesn't look like a horror game anymore unless you're doing Son of Cujo. And we'll close that. Color tint, does exactly what it says. Make it red or whatever other color you want. Colors, this is for these here. So like for primary color, I could change it to green. And no, I'm not saying you would do this combination. I just want to show you how easy it is to make these changes. I'm not going to mess with the other colors. You can try those if you purchase this. Fonts, pretty self-explanatory. These fonts won't be accessible until you install TextMesh Pro because there's two things that get installed. One, the TextMesh functionality, but then it gives you like a sample and it gives you some of these fonts. So by default, I don't think any of these fonts are here until you install TextMesh Pro. So I'm not going to mess around with the fonts. That's pretty straightforward. So logo. So there is they say brand logo, but that's the splash screen. So as you can see, that was the first symbol that showed up. So we'll just change it to another one. We'll take that one. Game logo, that's this right here. So click on this. Again, typical Unity navigation. And let's just choose like a star just so you can see it change. There you go. And then you can change the color of the logo. And yeah, again, you probably wouldn't do this combination. Again, I'm just trying to show you that it's that easy to make those kind of changes. And one of the nice things about this is you get away from what I've mentioned before, the idea of the Unity look, where if you're using the default buttons and things like that, it just screams, default assets. And so this is a very easy way to, at least for your title screen, get rid of, scrub that kind of default Unity look away. And there's other settings, but I think those are really more appropriate for a more advanced tutorial. This is meant to be the broad stroke, so we'll run this again. So now we didn't change everything, but we did change a few things. So new splash screen or logo. That we haven't changed yet. That I'll probably save for the more advanced one, but we'll go through a few more settings because this isn't the only menu. And there you go. Son of Cujo. Okay, so that is the main one under Tools and then Dark UI. However, the individual objects in here also have other custom components for the Dark UI. So like Menu Manager, see this? This kind of theme. This is letting you know that this is a custom component by Dark for the Dark UI. And these are actually buttons here. At first, I thought they're just decorations, but you can see that's settings, and you can see that's content. So I'm not going to go through that either. That's, again, more advanced, I'd say. Splash Screen Manager. Quality Manager, again, like there's audio, a few other settings. Background music, that's not custom. That's the typical audio source. UI audio, that's typical background. And these are all typical. So basically what's happening, see how that image is there? So basically what happened is the UI, when I selected this image, it modified this asset. So you have this kind of interconnection between the various assets, the various objects, excuse me. Like the splash screen, logos. Okay, now in the main panel, I wanted to show this to you. I'm not sure if this is the intended way to do it, but so far this seems to be the only way that I've found to be able to remove objects, because even though you see some of these listed elsewhere, so I'll probably reach out to the creator of this, the publisher of this, to see if there's a more concise way. There is a web page. It looks pretty comprehensive, so the answer might be there, but quick way to change the menu, you can just delete things. So like multiplayer, help and guide, settings. So maybe you just have bare bones, play and exit. And just like that, you've done that. So like I said, I'm not certain if that is really the intended way to do it. I think there's one more. There we go. So I'm not sure if that's the intended way, but you certainly can do it that way as well. And you can see these objects actually all have their own custom as well. So for Play Story, you have the content, you have the resources, and then you have additional objects. So it looks like that these are actual button objects. So there might be a way to just manually disable them. But anyways, so just want to let you know that if nothing else, quick and dirty, you can just delete them from there. So let's just take a quick look to see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention. And then what happens is that some of these are linking out to something else. So that's why you're going to see redundancy, like you see multiplayer and then you see multiplayer. And if I didn't mention it, I'll repeat. If I did mention it, either way, I'll repeat it now. This is just the UI. So what's happening is it's giving you a place to wrap your code around. So in other words, this doesn't actually have like multiplayer functionality. I'm pretty sure none of the settings actually do anything other than set a value. It would be up to you to then query that object, grab the value from it, and then apply it to your game. So just want to set expectation that, to the best of my knowledge, it's just putting values into the UI object. It doesn't actually feed into anything yet. That would be up to you and your game design to take the values from those UI objects. So just want to set expectation as I understand it. So I think that's about it. If you have any questions, just let me know. Like I said, I was thinking about doing a more advanced. Clearly, I need to do more research, but I wanted to get this out here in time for Halloween. So far, what I'm seeing, I'm very impressed with it. I think that it is a good alternative. I'm not sure that you'd want to use this for a lot of games because obviously the pattern would start to become evident. So you'd probably want to have several different UI settings. Obviously, like you could tweak this to some degree. Like, obviously, you could swap out what music is playing because, again, that was just a sound, an audio source. So obviously it's just a different audio clip. So you can work with this. So you could change like the audio clip so it's maybe more happier music, that kind of thing. But if you decide that you don't want to do this kind of layout, like I said, they have other UI packages as well. So far, this is the only one that I have purchased. Okay, I think that's about everything I want to cover. So I wanted to let you know what the package include, give you an example of how easy it is to make changes, and if you guys want to see a more advanced version, let me know. And like I said, I'll roll up my sleeve, learn more about how this works, and do a more in-depth one. And in that one, I would actually integrate this with a project. One of the projects that I'm working on, I'd show you how to, like, when you click on story, it loads that scene. Or if you click on exit, it exits. That's pretty, self-explanatory how that one works. But I think that should about do it. So let me know if there is anything else you'd like to see. And I hope you found this useful. And please enjoy the rest of your day.